Hello everyone, greetings from TCC. So finally adding this two lines of code after making the shopping cart code ready. Now we'll move on to the product details page. So let's go to that page. So we haven't written anything for that button, okay, for this button. So the ID is button 1 and the text on it was add to cart. So now we have to write the code for this button, and there's already a event or function you can say has been registered. So let's go to the product details.aspx.cs. So now we are here. So if the session email was null, then it will redirect us to the login page first. So the login thing will happen and all the session objects will get created, and again it will redirect back, like redirect us back to this particular form again. So that's what we have done. So suppose the user is already logged in now, and if the user clicks on add to cart on that particular product in which he or she is interested with, so now what will happen? So now you have to write the code for it. Okay, so let's see how that can be done now. Okay, I'll be switching between design, like between this page ASPX and ASPX CS, so that you should come to know that what we are doing here. So let's go to the and write the else part here. Okay, so if everything goes fine, so we'll come to the else part now and we'll write the code for it. So what will happen if the session object already has been created or the user is already logged in? So the very first thing what we'll do here, let's create certain variables. Double price, okay, where the user, like whichever product user has selected, the price has to get show here. But how to fetch the price from the data list control? Because on the product details we have used the data list control. You all can see here we have data list control, and of course the price is visible on a particular label here having ID price label, you can see, check. So accordingly now we'll try to fetch the value from the that label control, okay, which is there in the data list control. So let's see how these things work. Okay, let me write the code something like this. So let's call the data list control first. So data list control, come here, and I want to have the controls on you. Okay, let's say index position, because we don't have many controls here, and we want to find the control. Okay, there is a function called find control, okay, with the name. So if you don't remember the name, you can just switch back here. Okay, the name of the price label is like price label. So let's simply copy this and come back here and just paste it. Okay, so we are asking data list control, data list 1, to give us a control having the name called price control. But before we do that, okay, the control has to get converted into a form, let's say into label, because it's a label control. So we are converting that control, okay, we are converting that control into label, and let's put all these things inside the bracket so that we can, you know, call the text property of that label dot text property. So understand this thing, like inside this bracket we have the label. Now we have fetched the control label from the data list 1 control with the name price label. We have converted into the label, and then we are asking the text property to store this value in the double. Of course this error is coming here because it's a text and we are storing the value in the price, so we have to convert it. So for that, what can be done, at the start we can ask the double object to parse the value and put everything inside the bracket. So the string will get converted into double and it will get stored in the price variable. So try to understand this logic, what is happening here. We have start writing the code from data list control, like this was a control, we called it. Okay, we want to have the controls, we want to find the control with this name, and we converted that control into label form, put everything inside a bracket, then calling the text property. So we just have label.text property, but we can't save the text property, the text value in the double price, so we have used this function called double.parse. So the price value has been stored in the double price. Okay, now similarly we'll do the same thing for product name. So let's have it like this, like string product name, something like that. Okay, a variable equal to. Now I guess we don't have to like parse it, because by default label property we are fetching is like the property we are fetching is text property. So let's copy this code from here to here till this bracket, and let's paste it here, and let's put it semicolon. The only changes we have to make here is to replace this control name. So now for the product name we need to have a control name, which is product name label. So let's copy this and coming back here and then paste it. Okay, so I guess one bracket is extra over here, so let's remove this. Fine. So product name is here. Similarly we want to fetch product image URL also, because in the view cart also we should be able to display the image of the product. So for that reason we also have to fetch the product image URL. So one more variable we want to have, like string product image URL, okay, equal to. Now again we want to do the same thing, but I hope you all remember we have converted the label control for the image into image control. So now what can be done, we can have, so let's have a label control once again here. Okay, let's copy this and let's paste it. Okay, so this is the image control again, so let's make it like label control, and this image URL property will turn into text property. And now the height and width is not required. You will understand why I am doing this, just a sec. And the visibility of this label is equal to false, so that this label should not be visible. And why we are interested in putting this label of the image, because we want to fetch through label control only like URL, right? So now we'll be like, you can give it a name like this is p image, okay, something like that, p image URL. Okay, so let's copy this. Okay, we want to have this now. So this is also a label which also have the same text value as image URL value. So let's go to the product details page now. So same, let's copy this code, copy and then paste it. The only changes we have to make here is the name of the control, ID of the control, copy and then paste. So now we have stored, we have price, we have product name, we have product image URL also now. Okay, so the next thing what we want is product ID we want to fetch. So of course we also have the product ID, see, which is there in the PID label, right? And I hope you also remember like a product ID was also getting displayed in the query string as a parameter. So instead of fetching it from the data list control, you can fetch it from the query string, because code becomes smaller here comparatively. So let's see how to do that. So let's have a variable called int product ID, okay, equal to, and now let's pass it like integer dot pass. I'm writing this function at the start only, and inside the bracket I'll be requesting. So through the request object I'm asking query string to come into picture, and query string you have something for me that's in double quote is PID. Okay, so in the URL there was a query string named PID, so I'm asking query string itself only like to give me the product ID, so I'm storing it in the product ID. So now we have the 4 value. I hope you also remember in the shopping cart.cs in the cart class, okay, when we have to insert the whole cart item. Okay, so we need product ID, we need price, product ID is with us, price is with us, quantity is not with us now, product name and image URL is there, so only quantity is pending. So now let's go to the product details.aspx.cs back again. So now the very first thing what we have to do, okay, we have to retrieve the cart from the session object. And how to do that? Okay, so you have to call the session object, okay, and you have the cart. We have made the entry in the login. So of course, when the user has login, so user has got the card object in the session object. So now we want it back, okay, and we want to save it. We want to save it here in the, like, say C equal to, like, this is a C object we have declared. And if we don't want to make a confusion, we can typecast it properly. So we are converting the object into, shopping cart object. So we have to mention the namespace properly, that this is our final year project, not find control, sorry. So this is our final year project dot cart. So we are converting this session card object properly into final year project dot card and storing it into the C object. Now the thing is, like, what is C? So of course you have to declare it once again here. So here let's declare properly, like, final year project card, say C equal to new final year project, and then closing. So basically we have created the new project here in C, and we are fetching the same session card, okay, we are created, and we are storing it C inside the C. Now we'll try to insert. This was empty, by the way, this was empty, and again we have asked the session card object itself also to give us the card object, so that we should get the reference. And now we are trying to insert the value here, okay, and I hope you all remember we had the function called insert for the cart. So these are the parameters we have to pass: product ID, the price, quantity, product name, and image URL. So going back here, so let's call the insert function, okay, and let's give all the values. So it is giving us the suggestion. So the very first thing will go product ID, comma, then goes the price, then comma, then quantity will be like 1 in the start, and then goes product name, and in the last it goes product image URL. Done. So after clicking add to cart, this thing will happen, all these things will happen, okay. So we have fetched the price, product name, product image URL, and product ID, and we are creating the cart object once again here, and we are also asked the session object to give us the cart object, and we have stored in the C. And now if the products, or the, you can say, cart item has been properly added, then we have to store the cart object back into the session, so that it should not be lost, and whenever or on whichever page it is required, it should give us the same cart object and on which we have added the item, okay. Now so we have just created here, and I think we don't have to create the object here of the cart. I'll just cut it from here, and I'll just put that code in the page load function, okay, for a reason, so that cart should be visible or outside it. Basically, let me do it outside, yeah, within the class. So whenever this class gets loaded, the cart object gets created, okay, C, which is empty one, okay. Why I'm not putting that code here? Because every time new object will get created, I don't want to do that, okay. I want the class should get loaded only once. So now after this, the C has again got stored in the session object named cart, and now what will happen, like, after adding the product, something should be visible to the user, right? So what we can do, we can make the user redirect to the category page again. So for that we need, cat ID. So let's declare one more variable called cat ID, and category ID was there with this data list control. Let me check. PID label, P name, P image URL. Yeah, category ID was also there. So in a similar fashion, we'll fetch category ID. Let's see, I'll just copy it. So we want to have in the format of string only. So let's copy this code. Okay, copy this and then paste it. Okay, and change the label. Control here, it was cat ID label. Copy it and properly paste it, so that category ID is getting fetched here. And finally, we'll make the user redirect, response.redirect to products page, products.aspx. Okay, with the query string called cat ID, and let's concatenate this with this variable called cat ID and say semicolon. Okay, so our job is done. Basically, we have written the code for add to cart, and let's see if it works fine and whether we get redirected successfully to the products page again. I hope it was products. Yeah, it is products. So let's see. So let's come to this. Let me reload it again. So let's go to index page. Let's view in browser. So we are on home page now, and we'll go and navigate properly this time, and let's see if all the things what we have planned works correctly or not. So let me go to the category first. Okay, and let's go with the yoga mat, and I'm interested in this lotus mat, and let's say I want to add to cart. So the very first thing, they're asking me to go and log in first, so that this session objects will get created. All my details, email ID, phone number, address, and even the card, the empty card will get stored in my session object. So let's go ahead and do it like this. tom@gmail.com and tom123 is the password. Let's say submit. We are back on the product details page again, and let's say add to cart now this time. Okay, and something has gone wrong here, because I guess I forgot to put equal to. So if just we have to put equal to and say enter, we will be back on the same category page, same products page. Okay, same category by the main. So let's go to there, and here the equal to was missing, so that's it. So our job is done. Okay, it will work fine. Again, let me check. If I go to extra organic mat and if I say add to cart, okay, it is not loaded here still. So let me save this. Okay, save this, and again going back again. Okay, fine, it is giving me the problem now. So let me reload it once again. So let's go to the index page once again. Okay, now this time what I will do, I'll log in first, and let's see whether again it redirects me or not. So if I log in first before selecting the product, it should not redirect me to login page. Okay, so I've already logged in now. So I'll go to the category, I'll go to the yoga mat, I'll choose the extra organic mat, and I'll say add to cart. Bang on. So it's working. So the thing has been added, and here the view card option is available. So in the next video, we'll see like how the object or product which we have just added in the cart, how it should get visible. Okay, so that's it from this video. I hope people have enjoyed. If people have any query, then do comment below. We'll try to respond as quickly as possible. So that's it. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
That's all guys from this video. If you really like this video, press like button and do subscribe to our channel. If any queries or suggestions, do comment below. For more such updates, follow us on Instagram and Facebook.